Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Building Great Sales Teams. I'm excited about this one because it's my boy Ky Logue. He lives here in San Antonio with me, and he's the owner of We Buy Sad Houses. He's a wholesaling connoisseur and a real estate investor, and he just threw his first event, which was wildly successful. He sold it out. Ky, welcome to the show, brother.
Man, thanks for having me, bro. I've been excited. I want to do this for a while, so
yeah, for sure.
That worked out.
For sure. So you're just coming off of your first event. How did that feel? Like, it's done, it's over with, it went really well. Like,
yeah, it feels good, man. It's like kind of a mixture of feelings. So it's probably the biggest one. I just feel grateful as fuck, and just how everything worked out and clicked. And yeah, it was a big idea, and I just jumped into it for some reason. It's something I've always wanted to do, and speak on stage, and I just feel grateful, man. I'm just very grateful how everything clicked and how everyone came together, and like, I'm so grateful so many people came out and showed support, and like it's humbling. I don't know if humbling is the right word, but it's like kind of humbling. Just like these people came, and not just see me, I was and other speakers, but they just came from all over the country, and like they flew in, and other speakers flew in. And it's just wild, man. But no, I'm great. I'm already looking forward to the next one, man. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Man, I gotta say, I've been to probably 30 plus events over the last 2 years. And this was one of the smoothest ones I had been to. Every event you go to, they got audio issues. The setting isn't that great. The lighting isn't great, whatever the case is. But as soon as I heard you were going to have it at Jazz, Texas, I was like, oh, shit, I've been to that place a few times for dinner. And the environment, it's like the whole like underground environment too. So it's just a really cool setting. It's like you're in a little speakeasy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it definitely has that speakeasy vibe. And I love all the old gangster movies and stuff. So I love the whole speakeasy vibe. And I'm like, I went there. It's right on my alley. And I love the Pearl. The Pearl is one of my favorite areas in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I have it right there downtown, the Pearl, it's perfect. The cost was right. Everything was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like how the venue, that was like literally everything. Every part of the lining up the event. It just like, obviously there was hiccups in here and like thought things weren't going to work out, and they did.
Yeah.
But it all clicked. Like it was a perfect time, and I just knew like I felt God and felt like very blessed how it worked out. And,
no, the energy was there for sure. We went upstairs, and in the Pearl, there's this little section that's covered or whatever, right next to the turf park that they have, and there's like 3 restaurants in there. And it was just cool. Like, for every restaurant that was in there, there was someone with that ethnicity of the restaurant present, and they were like, wow, this reminds me of home, this is good food or whatever.
Yeah.
One of them was a Jamaican restaurant. There was an Italian place with pizza and stuff like that, and then there was the taco place too.
Yeah.
Which I had one of those
Did you go with the keto one?
Yeah, the keto tacos. Good, huh? Dude, I wasn't ready for how messy it was, but it was delicious.
Yeah.
I was just stuffing my face in front of everybody.
Yeah.
This is awesome. So, walk me through a little bit. You're married to Bree, and you guys work together. You guys put on this event together. What is that whole dynamic like? Because, I've never really worked with my wife before. I mean, she was my HR director for like 6 months or something like that. But, we were still very separate in our roles, right? And so what is that like every day working with your wife, and then when you go home in the evening, you're with her too?
Yeah, so it's great, man. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, but it took us a long time to be able to get to how we work together now. Because I've been an entrepreneur for coming up on about a decade now, and I pushed her in entrepreneurship a few years after. So I think like six or 7 years she's been an entrepreneur. We tried to work together shortly after I sold my first business, and we tried to work together, and I jumped into what she was doing, and I kind of just inserted myself kind of like a bull in a china shop. And, we had completely different ideas for what we wanted in the business. I'm very competitive. I always want to be the best. We're going to be the biggest marketing company. So we're doing like social media, paid ads, like digital marketing and stuff. And she still has that business. Still has some clients. But so we just completely different directions, and it didn't work out at all. And I think we did it for maybe 6 months, and then we're like, oh, we can't do this. We're not going to work together. We're just butting heads.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, fuck, I'm going to start my own marketing company.
Because that's going to work out great.
Yeah, so I started, I'll just do my own marketing company then. I did. We did well. Like I was working with for car dealers, so
nice.
And that's what I wanted. She wanted to like actually like work with small businesses. I mean, I just want to make money. And where I know the car business. I got started in the car business, so I can tell to these people. I know how to talk to them, and I know how to help them. And I know they have ridiculous ad budgets, and they don't know how to spend it, and they just throw money like around. So, but yeah, perfect. So I'll go for that. But yeah, then fast forward. I think maybe about a year now we started working together again. It really took a lot of growing for me because it wasn't just with Bree. It was with anyone that I worked with. I wasn't a good leader. I didn't know leadership was a skill that could be developed.
Right.
I thought it was just something you had or you didn't. And I was always like, no, that's how we're gonna fucking do it. It's gonna go this way, or if you don't like it, there's a door. And I didn't really know about core values or a lot of things you learn in Apex, or I didn't really know the stuff that I know now. But last year I spent a lot of time developing and growing as a leader. But so it's now it works a lot better. Obviously there's always room to grow and get better. But one of the things that we do really well is having our clear defined roles, and so it's we're not butting heads, and we know our strengths and weaknesses. So I'm definitely more of the visionary. Yeah, she's more of the integrator. So you kind of see that a bit at the event. I know. I appreciate you saying how it ran smoothly, but that was all thanks to her. That had nothing to do with me. If I ran that would have been a mess. But it would have been way over time. I don't know how we ended up with extra time, but we somehow did. And but yeah, I think it's really just kind of knowing our roles and just playing our part in the team.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, y'all crushed it yesterday. Everything went smooth, and like didn't have a clicker or something like that. Breeze on the laptop, changing the slides for us. You know what I mean? Adapted, pivoted, did what you had to do.
Yeah, I think just having the right people too, because Justin Nelson's people, they ran on, got a clicker.
Yeah.
So it's like halfway through, and we just I know she's just great at adapting and improvising on the fly too, and then we just having the right people around you too is just huge.
Yeah. No, that was awesome, and that was the thing too. It's like, the people that you did invite to speak, we've been to a lot of events. We spoke at some events, you know what I mean? So we can appreciate what it takes to run them.
Yeah.
And then when things go wrong, instead of just complaining, it's like, okay, we'll work around that. You know what I mean? We'll pivot here, whatever the case is. So, no, that's fantastic. So when we were having dinner last night, like everybody was celebrating, we were having a good time. You had a few drinks in you, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like Ben Affleck comes out of nowhere and starts chopping it up with me.
Oh, yeah.
Your accent came out full. I had not heard that yet. You know what I mean? So it was, me and my wife were just cracking up. We're like, which car are we taking? Everybody's seen that scene in, what movie is that? The bank robbing movie?
Was it,
We're going to hurt some people. I can't tell you what it is. And his brother's like, what car are we taking?
Yeah. It's, The Departed.
No, it was The Town.
Oh, The Town.
The Town. There you go.
Yeah, the bank robbers.
Yeah, and I was like, man, is this Ben Affleck now or what? What's going on? So
that's too funny.
Obviously, were you born and raised in Boston?
Yeah, so I'm from a city called Lynn. So it's
okay.
Like it's called City of Sin. But it's
really?
It's got kind of bad reputation, being a little rougher area. Right outside of Boston. But yeah, I lived there. But I bounced around a lot. So I mostly lived there. But yeah, I think I went to like 10 different schools.
Wow.
Like high school. So yeah, I was like constantly moving, and so I lived in like New Hampshire for a while too. But yeah, I spent most of my time, and I was born and raised most of the time in Lynn.
Northeast. So take us from there to wholesaling. You know what I mean? Obviously, you have the marketing companies in between, but what got you into entrepreneurship? What took you down this path?
Yeah, so I guess like Adam was talking about yesterday, the accident entrepreneurs. I guess that was me. I didn't really know much about entrepreneurship. Wasn't really big on social media and stuff when I first started. And I think, so I started when I was like 23, working for myself. So I was I did sales, always did sales. So I got into sales, loved sales. It was like the first thing I was ever good at in life. And that changed like the trajectory of my life. Because before that I always wanted to be successful. But the only people I knew that were successful were like selling drugs. So I thought that's what you had to do. So I was like selling coke, moved up to selling cocaine, and a bunch of the people I was working with got busted, and I had the FBI knocking on my door one day. It was actually Bree's mom's house. I was staying there, and I had a bunch of stuff in the house I shouldn't have had.
Wow.
And that was kind of like a wake up call. I'm like, what kind of asshole am I here? I'm like staying at.
What a dick.
Yeah, all this stuff in the house, and I'm like, fuck, dude. I got to figure something else out. And then my buddy brought me into a call center. He's like, oh, this thing called call centers. What's a call center? He's like, oh, you ever seen Boiler Room?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's like that. I'm like, that's a real job. I'm like, fucking, yeah, let's go. So, yeah, I did that. I got into sales and loved sales, and I got super burned out by sales.
You sure that wasn't Jordan Belfort that recruited you?
Right.
I'm thinking of that scene where they're it's all movie
Sorry,
references today.
Right.
I'm thinking of that scene where they're in the diner. He's like, sell me this pen.
Quit my job tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was, I loved sales, and it was great. So yeah, went all in on sales. Then I got super burned out selling cars. Said, fuck, I just want a salary job. So quit sales.
Went one extreme to the other.
Yeah, exactly. I've always been an extremist. Always all in or all out, and But so left, and then I'm like, oh, I hate this too. I want to get back in sales very quickly. And I'm like, I miss sales like immediately. I'm like, shit sucks. I'm like, I don't know how people just go to a job and like make a set amount and just
go home.
That's it. I'm
yeah.
like, fuck, this sucks. So I applied for the sales job, didn't get it. I was super pissed, and I just ended up being a shitty employee. I'm like, fine, they're not gonna give me the job I want. I'm like the only one with sales experience. They don't want to give it to me because I didn't play politics.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be a bad employee than like everybody else. And then they're like, oh no, that's not gonna fly, and they fired me. Rightfully so, because I was a shitty employee. But then I'm just like, no, I'm never gonna work for somewhere else again. I remember Bree's like, oh, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, I'm never gonna work another job. I'm just gonna figure out how to work for myself.
Hell yeah.
She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. We don't know anyone that does this, who weren't like really on social media at the time, or like didn't know of anybody else that like did it.
Yeah, entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur wasn't trendy like it is now.
Yeah. I'm like, but yeah, and I was like, we're just gonna figure it out. So yeah, I just kind of jumped in from there and just had a bunch of series of businesses that some failed, and
what was the first one?
I tried to do, so the first thing we did, so I was making a little money at the time there, so I kind of had the idea because we were like flipping stuff. So we were, they're like Amiibos were big at a time. They're like a toy of like Nintendo.
Okay.
And you could buy them. There were only so many of them, and you could get, if you went to the store early and you bought them, you could like flip them and like make a couple $100 off each one.
Okay.
So I started to sell stuff on Amazon. Then we started to go to yard sales, and we'd go to yard sales and buy old video games. And then we'd do that on the weekend.
So you were executing like Gary Vee.
Yeah, exactly.
His whole deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't on.
I didn't know who Gary Vee was.
He wasn't on back then.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was, or he probably was doing his wine stuff or something. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know. But I just fell into it by accident. But yeah, I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm just going to do this full time now somehow. But we're still making a couple extra $100 a week doing that. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to flip stuff full time. And yeah, we did that. And then I'm like, oh, we're going to be landscapers. So that was like the first real business. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start a landscaping company. And then then we did that. And then but so we did landscaping, but we usually get a lot of snow in the winter in New England. So we're like, all right, so all this money we have, we're going to go and we're going to buy some like snow equipment. Like snow blowers and like shovels and everything. It's about all that, and it was like one of the only winters that like never didn't snow. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So yeah, we just had all this fucking snow blowers sitting around my house.
You didn't do your weather research?
No, I guess not. Yeah, I've never really done research. I just jump into stuff and just figure it out. But yeah, that was the first one. Yeah, a bunch of them, some did well, and I sold one of my businesses, so we had one that did pretty well after that. And then after then, kind of just went into the marketing straight into real estate.
So tell me about your first year in wholesaling, because, especially in our circles, and even before that, I had heard of this concept.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it, and everybody was saying that they did it, and so it was like this, wholesaling used to be like crypto is now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where everybody says they do it, they own their own business, but they work a full-time job.
Right.
So tell me about your first year in wholesaling. What was that like, kind of getting over that, like, beginner's hump?
Yeah, so last year was so I've only been doing it for about a year and a half, so almost like 2 years.
Oh shit,
so,
I wouldn't have guessed that. That's
so
crazy.
So I've been like an entrepreneur for about almost like a decade, like 8 years or so. But yeah, so last year was probably my first full year wholesaling. So, but yeah, first 60 days, I kind of mentioned a bit in my speech yesterday, but I just tried to not take any preconceived notions, have a white belt mentality. I'm just going to do what everyone else is doing, and I'm going to see what's working. And so I did that, and the stuff worked. I mean, it worked. We made $60,000 our first 60 days, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm definitely going to keep doing this. But
this is cool. $60,000 in 60 days. Yeah, $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
Everybody does that, right?
But it was those first 60 days I wasn't making shit, so I'm just like, oh, hopefully it's going to work. And then we just in the first deal we did, we only made $1,000. So it was that next one we did 60. So
nice.
But that was like a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
So but no, I worked for like 60 days and finally got a deal, and then I was like, what the fuck? I made $1,000, and I'm like, this sucks. And I just worked 60 days for $1,000, but I've always been stupid. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going and stubborn, and I kept pushing forward. And luckily I did, because everyone talks about 3 feet from gold, and I literally was 3 feet from gold and hit $60,000 in the next one. I'm like,
yeah.
Cool. Like, all right, I'm all in on this. So
it reminds me of I'm sure you've seen it, the axe pick meme, where you got two guys, digging in the dirt and everything.
Yeah.
And one of them keeps going and finds the diamonds. The other one is like 3 feet from the diamonds.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But he gives up and walks away.
You know the story about it for the Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich? I think it's in there, but yeah, they talk about it. So one of the guys, he borrowed money from all his families during like back in the day when they had the gold rush. So he borrows money from all his friends, his family, his neighbors. They go out, do the gold rush, and he starts mining. And they're mining, they hit gold. So they hit a little bit of gold, and then they got money, so they got more money from all their friends. They keep investing. We got this golden vein, and then it dried up.
Yeah.
And they dried up, and they're like, what the fuck? And then they kept digging and digging, and there's nothing there. They didn't really do, and then they stopped, and they're like, what the fuck? So the guy quit, left. He just basically left all his equipment there, was discouraged, and owed everybody a bunch of money. And then they sold it to like a junker, I guess, some of the equipment they had. Yeah. And then the junker, he was smart. I guess he was a little bit smarter than them. So he hired an expert. So he hired an expert to check out what happened with the vein. And so the guy came and he said, hey, you guys are literally 3 feet from gold. It's I guess it was called a false vein or something.
Yeah.
So it was it was literally 3 feet from gold. So that guy ended up that hired the expert, ended up killing it and making a bunch of money.
Wow.
But luckily that dude, he remembered that lesson, that 3 feet from gold, the rest of his life, and he lived with that, and he became an insurance salesman, became like one of the most successful insurance salesmen of all time.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard the other story where it's the guy, took over his dad's farm, expanded it, crushed it in farming, had a bunch of land, had a bunch of people working on it, this amazing business, and then he hears about that there's a gold rush in San Francisco or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he decides to go after the gold. Like, he's already a rich, wealthy man, you know what I'm saying, but he wants more, so he decides to go after gold, and he sells his property to this up and comer, and the owner finances it to him, and then he takes off and goes to find gold and ends up being dead broke. The guy that bought his property ends up finding gold in the backyard.
Oh yeah, I never heard that one. That's wild.
So that's more of a the grass is greenest where you water
object.
it. Yeah, exactly, and the shiny object syndrome too. So no, that's a big deal in especially in our business. So you're into your first year and a half in wholesaling, and what's crazy about that is, you meet people that are in for 3 years and they haven't made $60,000.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And then here you are in for a year and a half, probably done well over that, and then also throwing your first event.
Yeah.
And it went really well too. So what would you kind of attribute that to?
I think just some of the experiences and just I've learned over the years. Just like I said, it's not my first rodeo. A lot of people, they don't know how to do sales. They don't know how to do marketing. And the reason what attracted me to wholesaling was I didn't know what wholesaling was earlier, but I always wanted to get into real estate. Like the first time I ever met a rich person, growing up I didn't know any rich people, but the first time I met someone that was relatively wealthy, owned a nice house and had a Porsche or something. But to me, I was like, wow, this dude must. I didn't know these people really exist. But he told me I talked to him and he said he barely graduated high school. But he made all his money in real estate. Oh, cool. So it was always in the back of my mind, okay, I want to find out about real estate. But I always thought you had to have a shitload of money. You had to have perfect credit. You had to have rich parents, and you had to have a bunch of experience and know how to fix everything and be handy. And I had none of those things. I'm the least handy person you'll ever meet. But then I found out about wholesaling. I was like, sales and marketing. I'm like, oh shit, that's all I've done my whole life. Yeah, since I was 18. Well, even before that, but professionally and legally, since I was 18, I've all done sales and marketing. So, but I found out that's all it is. I'm like, cool, and just went all in.
No, that's awesome, man. And so, I know that you've put together basically a process for that. First, just so people understand all the way through to the CRM that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of loosely explain wholesaling?
So a lot of people like to make it very complicated, but really, they usually do they're selling a course or have something to sell you, or there's a new way to wholesale. But really, all it is you're finding a deal on real estate. You're getting it under contract, and you're selling that contract to a buyer. And then there's more steps, there's more nuances to that. But really, when you at a high level, that's all it is. So you just need to find a seller, get a favorable deal, and then sell that deal to an investor or a buyer, whoever wants to buy real estate, which is pretty much everyone. But that's really it. So that's kind of when you break wholesaling down, you look at it that way. Then you think, hey, so I just have to do sales and marketing. I have to talk to sellers, so I can get these deals. Then I have to do sales and marketing. I have to talk to buyers to sell that deal.
Yeah,
it's really that. It's really that easy.
And so the buyers don't have to do the legwork.
Right.
So they're down to, it's not even a premium really, because if you get a good deal, then there's margin in there for them to still make their money. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, love it. And so what inspired you to eventually develop your own CRM? Like, where was the disconnect that you felt like you had to do that?
Yeah, so really, for me, it was, I jumped in, again, being an entrepreneur, I've used pretty much over the years, I've been in sales so long, I've done like so many different CRMs. I've done Salesforce, I've done Close, I've done PropStream, Podio. I'm sure there's a bunch of them I'm forgetting, but a bunch of free ones, and Pipedrive, and I've been in a bunch of different organizations, so I've tried all theirs, and like literally, like they're cool, most of them did the job, and they were fine, and like I'd usually get them working how I need them to, but none of them ever had everything I wanted.
Right.
And on top of that, I also would have to pay for the CRM, but I'd also have to pay for a website builder. And I've tried a million different website builders. And then I'd also have to pay usually for like a text messaging service. I can mass text people. And then I'd have to pay for like literally like I was paying like, like a grand. Like I think I had like, it was like $1,800, I think we were looking. Yeah. How much we were paying every month just on all these different services, and it took so long to go through each one, and it's so hard to train people on each one. But then I finally found the one I'm using now, which is Go High Level, and our system is built off Go High Level, which I love how Big Marv explains it. Is basically Go High Level. It's like WordPress.
Yeah.
And it's if you don't know how to do WordPress, you're gonna have an ugly ass site that doesn't work. But if you know how to use Go High Level, you can build a pretty cool CRM.
Yeah.
So I built it for myself. So I found out how to use that, and I'm like, what do I want? So I built it for me, and then everyone's like, hey, how are you getting deals? I'm like, oh, I'm just using my system. And then like, oh, cool. I'm like, I'd love to try it. I'm like, oh, cool. And you can actually resell it. So we ended up getting a few people to do it that way, just kind of organically. And they're like, hey, might as well make this a business. And
right.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more people want to try it too. So.
Okay. If anybody is interested in that wholesaling CRM, where can they go to find it?
Yeah, it's REI bot CRM.
Dope.
Yeah.
So yesterday you talked about how to get leads, right?
Yeah.
You can have, and again, Mark talked about that too, you can have a badass CRM, but if you aren't able to drive traffic there, then it really doesn't matter. So how are you driving traffic to your CRM?
So I'm not really driving traffic, so we do a lot of cold outreach.
Okay.
So we pull a lot of lists. So we get, my favorite place to pull lists is right from the county. So you can actually get data right from the county. One of the ones we like the best is code violations list. So these are people that they're getting in trouble with the city or the county because they're not taking care of their shit. They're not taking care of their house. So it could be overgrown weeds, like super long. The house is vacant is a big reason. The house is it's unsafe. So really a lot of all these reasons, we're looking for distressed sellers. So usually people that are willing to sell their house at a discount, or they have some sort of distress. And so they don't want to fix up the property themselves. They don't have the time or the money to do it, or they just don't care. So usually it's just a headache for them, and that's why they're usually willing to sell at a discount. So we're trying to find those people normally, and then we're solving a problem by them because they have this house that's a headache, and the city hates it, and the neighbors hate it because it brings the property values down. So we reach out to those. But yeah, we get those lists right from the county, then we upload it to our CRM. Then we just do text, voicemail automations to go through the list, and then as soon as they're like, yes, I do want to sell, or maybe, then I just hop on a call and run through our script and our sales process.
Nice, very cool. So I can imagine reaching out to these people and dealing with people that get into that kind of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're probably not the most functioning humans, you know what I'm saying? And so, I think about when I used to sell credit repair, and we had some lists that we would call, and it was just like, these people were just angry. Angry about life, you know what I'm saying? And so how do you deal with that kind of mental wear and tear of having all these awkward conversations initially and then transitioning them into a profitable conversation?
Yeah, for me, it's really just trying to find the right person at the right time. I think it's all just timing, because I could hit someone up and they're just having a bad day, and I hit them up a couple months later. The cool thing with automations is doing it automatically, but I could hit them up a completely different time, they're having a better time. And then when I talk to someone, I do get someone on the phone like that is angry. I just try to have empathy, which is something I struggle with, that I had to really work on being more empathetic. But I just know I used to be that person. I used to be that angry person that was pissed off at the world. And I used to think I was a victim because all shit happened to me, and just be angry. So I get it. I get where they're coming from. And I always tell myself, someone's yelling at me and saying crazy shit on the phone. I was saying yesterday, I had people, when I first started making calls for wholesale, and someone told me, oh, I hope your whole family gets cancer, especially your mom, and you all die. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like, what? Then I take a step back. I'm like, what does this person have to be going through that in their life to they have to take it out on a random call on some person they don't know, and what do they have going on inside that that makes them act that way.
Mm-hmm. No, that's got to be tough. So you've developed your own internal sales program, right? Mm-hmm. And so, the marketing end you got covered. Mm-hmm. You said that you used a script, mm-hmm. right? You've got the CRM covered. So you're able to operate almost like a 3-man sales team with one person because of the technology, and then, of course, your marketing systems. And so what else goes into that sales program? Is it a one-call close, or is it a call appointment and then like email contract, or how does all that work?
Yeah, so it's usually it's 2-call close. So we do the first call. Usually it's a text or voicemail they respond to if they're interested. We call them up. We do all the discovery questions, and we'll ask motivation, what's the condition of the house. We try to find out why they want to sell, and find really the biggest thing we're trying to find out is what price they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So we know if we're in the realm of possibility before we're wasting our time. Then after that, what we're doing is I'll talk to them, I'll set the appointment, I'll make sure both decision makers are there, and I'll send it over in our system. I'll notify Bree, because Bree does all the comps, so she'll run the numbers and come up with an offer. Then I'll call them back on the second call, and we'll close them. I'll electronically send a contract.
How much time is between those 2 calls?
So ideally it's that same day.
Nice.
If we can, we try to do it as soon as possible, but sometimes it's the next day, depending if it's like later in the day, but it's usually within, usually either that same day or next day.
Very cool. And then, so you give them the offer, they say yes, and then what does it look like after that?
Yeah, so they say yes, we send them just an e-sign. We use Dropbox. I think Dropbox sign that was HelloSign, but yeah, just any e-sign. But yeah, we send them the contract, they sign it, we send it to Title. Title handles all the paperwork and crosses all the I's and crosses the T's and dots the I's.
Yeah.
I said that backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, they handle all that stuff. And then then it's pretty good. And then you find then I find a buyer. Buyer sends earnest money to Title. I get a buyer to sign a contract, and Title pretty much handles everything. And so you follow up with Title throughout, make sure they're good, and you can help them out where it's needed. And and then you just get money sent right from Title, so you don't have to worry about anybody paying you. It's all through the Title company.
Have you ever not found a buyer?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens then?
So unfortunately, we gotta let go. So yeah, we give ourselves an inspection period.
Okay.
Especially in smaller markets. And when we first started, it happened a couple of times too, is because we didn't do the math right. We didn't do the numbers, and it's a mistake a lot of people make. And it sucks. You feel like an asshole because you made a promise to these
wasted
people.
That person's time,
just wasted their time and got their hopes up. And integrity is big for me, and I just hate being out of integrity. So yeah, it definitely sucks. And I really just make sure we're more conservative with our offers if we don't know the market, and negotiate a bigger discount to think, hey, we might have messed up here, so try to make sure there's some room in case we fucked up. But yeah, it sucks to have to do that, and then you just hate them leaving. And
has that caused you to prepare yourself or prepare the seller more for that now, or are you confident enough now that you have buyers available?
Yeah, I'm confident enough now, for sure. We try to isolate it more. We make sure we do more prep work in the beginning to avoid that from happening.
Yeah.
But it'll still happen once in a while, unfortunately, especially if we enter a new market. There's always more variables. Like we have one in Arkansas right now we're struggling to find a buyer with, but we're going to keep doing the work. I know the numbers make sense, just find the right person, but it's we try to, if we know we can, we try to let the buyer or the seller know as soon as possible too, so we're not wasting any more time than we need to.
So when it comes to wholesaling, what's the next step for you guys? What's going to be the evolution of your business?
Yeah, really just keep growing and hiring. So we're adding a couple more salespeople. We're hiring. We had one guy we hired, didn't work out, kind of just ghosted us. But then the next guy, I'm excited about. He's starting at the beginning of March.
Okay. And
then we have another one we're going to add to. I interviewed another guy. I might give him a shot too. And then we have VAs and stuff that help us too. We'll probably add more VAs. So yeah, really just this year it's all about growth and scaling, so I can just focus more on working on the business instead of being in the business all the time. And yeah, really just ideally, I want to have like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, wholesaling company in the country, and have it fully automated so I can just speak and travel and hang out with my friends all the time. And do cool shit.
And that's the life, right? The entrepreneur's dream. No, I love it. When it comes to hiring those guys, what's the opportunity that you're pitching to them,
So really it's, like one, they get to learn wholesaling. So I'm going to teach you everything I know about investing. You guys ever want to start your own thing, I'm 100% cool with that. I'll support you. I'll help you get started. But I'll teach you, step at a time, so you can, even if you know nothing, you can be an appointment setter, then I'll teach you how to close, and then we'll teach you how to do dispositions, which is finding the buyers.
Okay.
But yeah, and all the other stuff that goes into it. But one, the biggest thing we're working with us is you get all the systems, you get all the leads. We pay for all the leads, all the systems, and you have all the scripts, everything else you need to be successful, and you have our support too. And then we pay a pretty good, so we're paying like 30% commission split.
Nice.
So they make, on average, our average wholesale fee is $20K, and so most people it's like 10K, 10K. But yeah, so we try to do $20K for each deal. But even if it's 10K, they're still making $3,000 a deal, or the normal one is $6,000. So
I love it. And then you can, as you start expanding, you can increase that if they're bringing in new people.
For sure.
You got plenty of roadway for a great opportunity structure.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what too many entrepreneurs do. They start out paying their sales division too high, and they kind of cap themselves being able to expand unless they want to give them the bad news that they're cutting commissions. Right. So that's always the tough part.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So tell me about ODAAT.
Yeah. So ODAAT, one day at a time. So it's my podcast. It's my brand. I got tatted on me. But yeah, for me, it's just a way of life. It's, just live one day at a time. Believe if you focus on winning today, tomorrow's going to take care of itself. So it's actually a crazy story. It's like deep meaning for me is, first, it's something my grandmother would always say to me. And I don't have a lot of really close family relationships, but I've always had a close relationship with her. But when I was a kid, I think I was 17 at the time. I was homeless. And I was just really tired of life. I felt like my whole life I was being kicked and put down, and just fucking never saw life getting any better. And I tried to kill myself, and it actually wasn't the first attempt, but yeah, I tried to kill myself. I grabbed the gun I had because I was selling drugs, but yeah, I had to grab my gun and cocked it back, and the bullet got jammed. It got jammed in the chamber, and it was real. It was surreal. But it was stuck there, so I went and got like fucking a butter knife, trying to hit it, trying to get out of the kitchen, so I'm trying to fish the bullet out because I couldn't get out of it. And it probably took me like 5 minutes. I'm just getting more pissed off. Yeah. And I finally get out of it, and I take a deep breath, and I go, and I just felt like a weird, peaceful calm, come over me, and just I felt like I don't know, calm. And something inside me, I heard a voice say, "Hey, go for a walk." So I went for a walk for a bit, and I was, every intention to come back and try and do it again. And that same voice said, "Hey, you should call your grandmother." And I'm real happy she answered that day. I don't remember much of our conversation that day because I remember upset. And she didn't know what was going on. She knew I was upset. I think I was just being kind of quiet on the call. And I hadn't talked to her in a while. And I think she asked me how I'm going. I'm saying, "Hey, I'm real stressed out. I just, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm just stressed out." And something to that effect. And I just remember saying, "Hey, all you can do is take things one day at a time." And for some reason, I know I've heard her say it before, but that day it really stuck with me. I said, "Hey, what if I just made it through today? What if I just focused? What if I just got today? What if I don't worry about tomorrow? I just fucking worry about finishing today?" And then I had that mindset shift, and I did it. I don't think I really did anything profound. I just didn't kill myself that day, but I made it to the end of that day, and then I just did it to the next day.
I'd say that's pretty profound.
Yeah.
Because most people do, or not most people, but a lot of people in that mindset or that have been pushed to that extreme, they flip the off switch.
Yeah, it's fucking sad, man. Yeah, it's a big problem for sure.
100%. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad you're able to spread that message and that story. That's awesome. Kind of rolling into that, what is, I'm guessing these two things are tied together, but what does legacy mean to you, and what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Yeah, for me, just making an impact on one person, because I always like to make as much impact as many people as I can, but I believe, even if I just help one person, I'd be happy with that. One person, I change their life. One person, I help them make it to another day, or change their life, and really just I think I'm here to be an example. I'm saying I have faith that I'm here, and God put me here, and I'm still here, and I believe that voice now. I didn't believe in God at the time, but looking back, I think that was God telling me to take that walk and make that call. And give me that feeling of ease. I think that was the Holy Spirit. But I think if I just if I could help one person make an impact on one other person, man, I'd be happy. But I really just want to help as many people as I can, just break out of negativity and poverty, and I think that's a legacy I want to leave behind.
Hell yeah. And it's the only thing that's gonna change the decline that this world is in right now. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are talking about this right now as, the only chance that we have to save this world is entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think time's now.
Hell yeah. All right, brother. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, sharing that message with us, and all the success you're having. Can't wait to see what you do this next year.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you having me, man.
All right, let's get building.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Building Great Sales Teams. Be sure to execute on what you just heard, and let's get building. As always, remember to subscribe and leave a review wherever you consume podcasts. You can also head on over to buildinggreatsalesteams.com and sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date with everything that's going on with the podcast. See you next time.